to Daytona, Bristol, Charlotte, and Sonoma.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 191 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd, and yes, a little bit of a different intro tonight. Most of you probably very familiar with Miss Sydney Lett there, so we're just going to get right into things because you know who is on tonight. We're going to have some fun. We're not going to waste any time. Lap Traffic Nation making his 14th appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. He is one half of the PETM Podcast. He won Twitter the other day with his posts about sponsorship. Welcome back to the Lap Traffic Podcast, the mic dropper, the showstopper, Mr. Andrew Sherwin. Sir, what's up? What's going on, man?
That's a hell of an intro. I didn't feel like I won it, but you know what? We had a hell of a lot more of the right amount of positive responses than the negative ones. And, you know, it just, you know, sometimes that stuff happens on Twitter and you just gotta roll the punches.
Hey, listen, I applaud your ability to roll with the punches, man. You do a hell of a job with that, that's for sure. That's on the show sheet. We'll get to that here in a second. First of all, I like the shirt, man. That's a cool shirt. We'll break fourth wall. More road courses is what the shirt says. Absolutely love that. That's fantastic. It's a beautiful thing. I know you guys got some stuff working with that, which is very cool. Lap Traffic Nation, 200 shows is coming, man. Tonight's 191. The countdown to 200. I'm going to have to put something together for 200 shows here in 8-7 weeks, whatever ends up being the case here, because there might be a bonus show or something along the way. But, sir, let's start off in honor of the PETM Podcast, the PETM Posse. Sir, what you drinking tonight?
I am drinking, some people will belittle me for this, but I am drinking Coke Zero and White Label Evil Willie, which is 100 proof Evan Williams.
Excellent. Well, sir, I have got the traditional Tito's sugar-free Red Bull and club soda going on here. So, sir, cheers to a great show that we're going to have tonight here. Looking forward to that. And the great thing is we're going to be able to hit stop and get refills along the way as necessary, and no one's going to be none the wiser when we hit stop. So we'll take as much time as we need with this.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have to own all the editing work.
It'll be easy. No worries at all. Listen, man, what'd you do over the weekend besides watch a lot of racing?
UFC.
Cool.
I hung out with one of my best friends, same guy who bought me a drink tonight, wishing me good luck on the next stuff that's going to happen. And we had a great time watching the UFC fights, and I didn't realize the reason why I was so tired was because it didn't end till 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, that's a long fight. I did hear about that things went a little long on Saturday night.
We did. I mean, the last three, well, they were all championship fights, but they went all 5 rounds. But we did get to see somebody get absolutely flatlined, which, you know, for his family's sake and his sake, you
sure.
know, that's not cool.
Yes.
But
yeah, it's a fight. I mean, you know that.
But when you're watching combat sports, that is certainly a thing that can happen.
Sure.
And,
absolutely.
It was pretty wild. So we had a good time. I watched it with a friend and a couple of his neighbors who are guys that he warned me ahead of time. Like, one of them's got a purple belt in jiu-jitsu and the other is a black belt in karate. I'm like, so these are people I don't want to fight.
That's awesome.
They turned out to be really fun people to hang out with.
Very cool. Very cool. That sounds like a hell of a weekend. We started building the bar in the basement along with trying to watch some racing and all that good stuff. So the man cave is under construction and tore up right now.
Yeah, I saw the construction process pictures that you sent, and I'm like, man, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be nice when it's finished. It's the kegerator got delivered today. Everyone's been making fun of me because everyone knows I don't drink beer. I'm like, I'm not putting in a brand new bar in the basement and not going to have a kegerator because everybody I know does drink beer. I mean, that just felt like a must-have. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it right and put in a kegerator in the bar.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, it works so well. It's so easy to do, and it's really not that expensive. The only trouble I've had with my own is that my CO2 capsule blew a gasket, and I had it replaced, and then it blew it again.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Have crappy plumbing, and because I redid all the plumbing except buying a new capsule for the CO2.
Sure.
And what I would say for anybody out there that's looking to, to buy one of those kegerator deals is spend a little extra $1 or $2 on making sure that your plumbing is all good. Because the CO2 capsule matters probably the most.
Yes. You don't have that, you're not getting beer. So, yeah.
Exactly. Like, the fridge will keep working just the way it did. It looks just like a fridge you had at the fraternity house or in college, and, in whatever apartment you were in. But if you don't have a good CO2 capsule,
Yep.
you don't have anything.
You're done. Yep. Oh, that's funny. All right. Listen, before we get into NASCAR, because we have a lot to talk about. PETM Posse, Lap Traffic Nation, if you have not put it on 1.5 playback, you're probably going to want to do that at this point in time for the rest of the show. But before we get into NASCAR, just being from Metro Detroit and all that, it's funny, Sherwin, I texted you last night and asked you if you were familiar with Malice at the Palace. And I asked you that because over the weekend, the Palace of Auburn Hills, where the Detroit Pistons have played, where Bob Seger's torn the house down numerous times and countless other concerts, wrestling events, and all that kind of stuff. 3 Pistons championships occurred there, went to many a game and concert, was torn down. And for me, Metro Detroit's lost a couple iconic places over the years. We lost Old Tiger Stadium. We lost Joe Louis a couple years ago. And now the Palace of Auburn Hills in Auburn Hills, Michigan is now no more. So I was surprised that you remembered the Malice at the Palace.
Well, so before we even get to Malice at the Palace, how cool is it? And I thought this was cool being from Atlanta. When they tore down Old Tiger Stadium, they built a baseball park right where it was.
Yes.
For people to go, just go play baseball.
Yes.
Just go play some baseball. And that is way cool. But Malice at the Palace, holy shit.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. If you have not heard of Malice at the Palace, go to YouTube. There's countless videos that recap this crazy event. I think there was only like 2 minutes left in the game between the Detroit Pistons, the Indiana Pacers, and man, did things go down.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the thing will probably anybody that has paid as much attention to the NBA as you and I have over the years long enough to have seen that thing, and no ill will meant to people that weren't around when that happened, because I don't do that. But Ron Artest went up in the stands because somebody threw a beer on him.
Yes.
And he hit a couple guys in the face.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I would do anything different.
Right? Like at some point it just instinct takes over and it's like, I gotta go beat some ass.
Right? I mean, like, I don't know that I just really don't know that I would do anything different. And, and I'll tell a quick little story about, just being a teenager playing soccer. And I know a lot of people that listen to this probably don't pay attention to that sport, but I can remember, somebody talking some crap to me on the sidelines right next to all the fans. And, not fans. They're all moms and dads,
Yeah.
right? It's everybody's moms and dads.
Yep.
And I'm 10 feet away from them. And this kid talks some smack. And I said, the next time you get the ball, I'm going to fuck you up. And I did. And my mom and dad didn't say a word. They're like, yep, that's between the lines. It's all good.
It didn't happen. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, sir, you mentioned it a little minute ago. You are making a move. You're going from Atlanta up to NASCAR country, which I'm excited about because I'm pretty sure that's an invite at some point in time to come to Charlotte, which I'm pretty excited about.
Oh, hell yeah. You got an open invitation. I'm moving to Mooresville, North Carolina, where probably 30 of the NASCAR teams are at.
So like I'm just gonna be like, dude, Sherwin, when you get a day off, I'm gonna need you to go over to SHR, and I'm gonna need you to see if they got any Kevin Harvick sheet metal in there, and I'm gonna have to have you ship that up here.
Oh, I'd be happy to.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, on the spot, man, you might be coming up to play a little golf with the professor here in a couple weeks, eh?
Well, I hope that we can make that work. I know you've already kind of solidified your team.
Yes, I've got a backup in place if things don't work out, which is cool. But it'd be cool if you, me, my buddy Zalen, and the infamous Brad Yunker on a foursome on a golf course during a scramble tournament. Something tells me we'd have a good time for those 18 holes.
I doubt there would be zero beers get drank.
Yeah, we'd have a good time. Good time. Yeah. Good time. For a great cause, too. Freddie the Pizza Man, who you guys have all heard me talk about. It's his annual autism charity. It is sold out. It is a double shotgun start. There will be 2 foursomes lined up on each hole. Freddie knows so many people at Metro Detroit. There's an amazing tin can auction with memorabilia, souvenirs, and all that donated. There'll be some local celebrities playing, some local radio, and all that. So it would definitely be a good time. And we'll talk after and over the next week or two, and hopefully we're able to put that together for you.
Yeah, I hope so too. I really want to do it, and the reason why I said yes is because I think I'm going to have some opportunities like that now that what I think is gainfully employed. I peed in the cup yesterday, and I have no reason to believe that I won't pass that test. There are no reasons to believe I won't. But
that's awesome.
I'm supposed to arrive, Monday or Tuesday morning on the 21st for whatever's next.
Cool. That's exciting, man. All right, let's do a quick rundown what we're going to do tonight. Sherwin and I have a laundry list of things to talk about. Aaron's going to join a little later in the show, and I'm legit letting Sherwin and Aaron take over the weather segment because I'll need a refill by that point, probably on 2 by that point, if we're going to be honest with the situation. We got a little extended version of the Lucky Dogs with Sherwin. We, of course, have some Lat Traffic Fantasy. So over the course of the next 90 minutes or so, make sure you start thinking about your All-Star, Truck, Xfinity, and Cup picks, as well as your Lucky Dog picks from this past weekend, sir. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, let's kick things off here. Let's first talk about it. You mentioned it at the start of the show. Some sponsor tweets that kind of stole the show the other day on Twitter, man. Talk about that. I think it's important to talk about because you got, like you said, you got a lot of positive feedback, but you also took quite a bit of heat there. What led that rabbit hole?
Well, so I really was just trying to send a lighthearted tweet about, I thought that, consumer products is, would help drive interest in the sport. And maybe I mentioned a couple of different companies that have something that is available to you. So I'll shout out Allied Bank. I'll shout out Haas Automation, as they have things that you can go engage in. But what I was really more focused on was, the Kleenexes, the various and sundry Procter and Gamble products, the Johnson and Johnson products. Like, I think that would be better for NASCAR if somehow we could re-engage their various and sundry brands to be a part of NASCAR, because you and I can go to Kroger or Safeway or you name the grocery store, Walmart, Target, and you can go buy those things and you can take them home with you and you can use them. Well, you and I can't go buy alone. We can't go buy a Haas automation machine unless we have a fabrication shop where we would require something that is that expensive. And I got smashed on Twitter over the fact that, those are consumer products based on some definition somebody wanted to use.
A lot more limited consumer product. Like, it's so much easier to go in and buy a bag of M&Ms and have that type of brand recognition than it is to go and open a savings account at an Ally. There's a lot more involved on the consumer side to have to make an effort to use that type of product than it is to go into a grocery store and buy an everyday household item.
Yeah, and that was my point. And I didn't realize that sending that kind of lighthearted tweet was going to be so explosive.
Sure.
So that's why I engaged almost everyone that was willing to reply. I was like, I don't think you understood what it was I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to say I want B2B to go away, because B2B is super important to NASCAR.
Sure.
It's as important as it's ever been. But if everything goes to B2B, then you start to lose touch with the person that can go to Target or Walmart or Kroger or Safeway and buy, a jar of soap or a cereal box.
Sure, 100%. Yeah, I'm with you there. Totally get that. Well, sir, news broke that we might be getting a new IROC series. What do you think about that?
Well, so I saw Matt Weaver talking about that thing and saying that it's not their intention for that series to take away from what is NASCAR. What I'll say about IROC is, while a lot of people are really enjoyed that series, and especially the fact that Mark Martin was so good at it, and he won a lot of them. I think he won 6 IROC championships. Is that IROC was the same thing as us running at Talladega. And I don't know what this new series is going to be, but it appears to me that it's going to be, short track type stuff. And that's going to make it wildly different. It's going to be on racetracks where NASCAR doesn't race. So it's only going to help people get more involved with race cars and just liking race cars, because they're going to show up at places that they're like, oh man, that's right down the road. Maybe I should go to that race.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it'd be great. Anything that Stewart puts his name on is going to get a little extra name recognition, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. He obviously loves racing. He is not ready to be done, obviously, in terms of, his involvement in auto racing in general. I think it's just he's got a bucket list and he just wants to go checking some stuff off and he wants to go start a series. So, hey, I hope it gets some TV time or something like that, or they're able to sync it up. And, maybe if they're running, like you said, it's going to be a short track thing, which is probably going to be Midwest type location. Maybe if Xfinity and trucks are in Iowa, maybe they can pair something up with that, to kind of piggyback off and get some, butts in the seats and some viewers.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, even in Charlotte, they have the 4/10 mile right off the corner there of turn 3 that they could do some of that stuff at, that would actually, bring some value to being, holding a NASCAR ticket. Because, I remember when Rusty and I went to Charlotte, I think it was in 2014 for the 600, and we went to the dirt race, and you could look across the crowd, and you looked at him and you go, this is a motocross crowd.
Wow.
It looked like a motocross crowd. Like, everybody's tatted up. They got their, black shirt with the neon, whatever the hell logo they're wearing. And you're like, yeah, this is a different kind of guy or gal than we see in the stands at a NASCAR race. And, like, how do we pull that group of people over onto the big track? And anything that supports racing is good with me. That's just the way I'm. Sure. That's my mindset.
I'm with you there. Regular season schedule. The rest of it came out. What was that? Last Tuesday, I believe it was. And unfortunately, I'm bummed. Doesn't look like I'm going to get to go to Michigan, which is going to end about a 15-year consistent stretch. I know you guys had the same thing with Atlanta this past year and all that, which is a bummer, but it's just the way of the times at the moment. Hopefully we can get back to a track here sooner rather than later, but I say all that to say we've lost Watkins Glen. We lost the Eldora truck race. What's your thoughts on the rest of the season, regular series, the playoffs, or you think things are going to change here at all or no?
Well, obviously it's going to change, but I think they made a great decision to run the Roval at Daytona.
Sure.
Yes. I think, all NASCAR fans, not all of them, I guess, a significant portion of NASCAR fans have always supported the 24 hours.
Yes.
At Daytona. Just because they're so excited about racing getting started again, and to see the heavy stock cars run that course, I think we're going to love it. I think we're going to love it.
Well, I know you and I have talked at length since the start of COVID. You and I have said NASCAR's in that unique situation right now to where they really can't do any wrong outside of the package. They could do whatever, and they've got carte blanche to just kind of see what pasta sticks on the wall. They ran the road course at Indy with Xfinity. That went over very well. There's no reason to think that the road course at Daytona isn't going to go over well. I think where NASCAR maybe might hurt themselves a little bit is all right, we're going to do all this stuff now because their hands are tied, but what happens when their hands aren't tied? What do we go back to? And I said last week on the show, I flat out said, I love road course racing. I don't want the market oversaturated with it. How many more is too many? Not enough. If NASCAR is going to be open to the fact of, well, the fans want this now, let's give it to them now. And in 5 years from now, if fans don't want it, but then they still throw it down our throats, then that's where the problem becomes. But if NASCAR is receptive, in my opinion, to what the fans want, then, hey, give us road courses now and see what happens later. As long as they're open to change later like they have to be now, I think we'll be in an okay spot, but I'm not sure how that's going to go.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that, and I I think we can't oversaturate road courses until we oversaturate road courses, which
Right.
is a weird thing to say, but um, I think we have to figure out where that saturation point is so that we understand what is the appropriate amount to attract the right amount of audience. And there are a lot of places that we can do this that make a lot of sense. And I know we're going to talk about that later in the show, so I won't digress too much. But it now is definitely the time to do something different. Which obviously we've done a lot of different things the last 7-8 weeks.
Yeah.
Where we've done these these double weekends and these 5 race weekends and whatnot. I think what we have to interpret from this is how much did we learn about whether the racing was attractive or the fact that we were the only sport that was actually doing stuff.
Sure. Well, and it's it's funny you say that because what are we a week, 2 weeks away from baseball kicking off on Sunday, July 25th? And obviously, right, the sport's coming back that should have been here since April. Whatever race is going on that day is probably going to lose a little attention to some local baseball, right? And we can't lose our shit when that happens. Like, that's, I think, an inevitability. Like, people miss baseball, they're going to go tune in to baseball. I'm going to watch the Tigers, and then once they lose 5 in a row, then I'll go back to not wanting to watch the Tigers. But we've been deprived of things from a sports nature, and I'm not going to take away anything other than I'm just going to relate it to we are sports fans. If you're listening to this, you're a sports fan, and we haven't had our normal sports. And so I just think, obviously, a lot more people have tuned into NASCAR. What's the attrition level and all that? As other sports start to come back, eventually I think everything will just level back off a little bit.
Yeah, I think, the elephant in the room is what we're going to do with college football. And I think it sounds like, the big conferences are all going to go to a conference-only schedule. And what makes this wildly different for a lot of conferences is that there are out-of-conference rivals that are a big part of the history of the sport.
Sure.
So, you have Florida State. You have Clemson, South Carolina. You have Georgia Tech, and you have Kentucky, Louisville. I don't have a very good view to any of those type rivalries that are within the Big Ten that's in your network. Being a Michigan fan, because it kind of feels like you guys probably don't have that same kind of thing going on.
Not outside, because all those schools you rattled off, they don't want to come up and play here in the winter. So we've got all of our our biggest one is Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's been hit or miss in terms of when they've been on and off the schedule and all that. Michigan State, obviously a big one. Those are all within our conference. They're even within our division within the conference. So fortunately, those won't get lost. But from a college football perspective, to me, rankings aren't going to mean anything this year. Championships aren't going to mean as much this year, just because it's not traditional, right? You're not going to have your college football playoff. It's all going to be just a almost exhibition, in my opinion. I really could be going out on a stretch with that, but when it all isn't pieced together like it's supposed to be pieced together, it doesn't feel normal from that regard.
Yeah, well, the only thing I would say is that, and I think a lot of people don't realize this on the peripheral, is that the reason why we only play 8 in-conference games, and then, down south we typically have the out-of-conference, big-time rival, is those 3 or 4 extra games you play, you pay those teams.
Sure. Yep.
To come play, and without them getting that paycheck, they may not get to play games.
Yes.
And so that will change the landscape a little bit. But I think what we'll end up having, if we only play a conference schedule and then, whatever conferences have their major out-of-conference rival, so they'll play 9 games or maybe 10. What you'll have is, I think we'll end up with the same teams that we were going to end up with in the championship.
Sure. Yeah. No, I wouldn't disagree with that at all. All right. Let's take a quick break, get a refill, and come back and talk a little Kentucky. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, we're back, and a little change of pace. Instead of talking Kentucky, we're going to do that here in about 15, 20 minutes or so. Instead, we're going to bump up the weather segment this week. So on the line, you can follow him on Twitter @RaceWeather, along with Brian Newdorf, keeping us all up to date on all the weather happenings at the track. Welcome back to the show. Along with Mr. Andrew Sherwin is Mr. Aaron Studwell. Sir, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. The doctor is in the house.
Yes, he is. I'm good. First off, sir, congratulations on a NASCAR sponsorship, man. Tell everyone about that.
It's been a while coming. It's been with the launch of the new company and with the launch of Exo Consulting really in May and then going through paperwork in June. It's been something I've been following up on and that you and I have actually been talking about too, and talked to a couple different teams and got a couple different ideas and finally just reached out to Go Fast because I'm friends with Shannon Rowe, and her husband's the director of marketing for Paula, and I know the Keys. So to be able to work with people I know, and then I actually do know a lot of people. I actually wind up knowing more people at Go Fast than I knew. So it just reached out to Ryan Ellis. Ryan reached back to me. He was it sounded like he was excited to hear me as I was to talk to him. And we just came down to a deal and negotiated the price, and they were very flexible. I like the spot on the car I'm at. It's going to be visible on television, which was really kind of a key thing. And
sure.
The other thing is to look in where he performed well or performs well. And Texas is my home track, and not necessarily my first NASCAR race, but most of them. Friends with people at their facility, and he runs well there. And then just the novelty and the new experience to be able to run the 2 races at Daytona, I'll call it a Roval until I'm corrected, and the Oval, the High Banks. And he has done really well there historically. So it's just a great opportunity. It's a great way to get the brand out front. We're growing and just be part of NASCAR, part of NASCAR Nation. And, I've said earlier on Twitter, you've been a wonderful friend. PETM's been great support through all these years. And I think just kind of you're getting to a point where we're all kind of thinking, what's that next step? And I take a step back and I realize there are more people in this community who know me than I knew.
Sure.
And
that's a cool feeling.
I think that's a positive.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, man, that's awesome. Congratulations. Are they going to get you a die cast with the logo on it? Do you get the name rail, anything like that as a souvenir for your troubles?
We're going to see what we can do. I did ask about a die cast. They're having troubles with it because I believe all 3 of the cars I am on, I at least know Texas. The primary sponsor is the Trump 2020.
Sure.
And they're having problems finding a licensed die-cast manufacturer in the U.S.
Gotcha.
Or let me flip it around. Not in China.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we're still kind of working through that aspect. Went back up there, working through that aspect.
Cool.
And for me, it's not about the die-cast, although I'd love to.
Right.
Get
That's
one
just
or
cool.
2.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
It is. But I think down the road, when whatever new normal comes around back to being, and we can be at the track and we can be in that area, I think that'll be an opportunity I get, either come back to Texas or find a race I can travel to, and that they have people there, and that pit road's not locked down.
Fair enough. Well, Aaron, I think the last time, I think I could be dead wrong, that you and Aaron were on with me and all that was back when I was in the PETM studios for Darlington. Does that sound about right with you, Sherwin?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I was still in Houston, but we had set it up, and it was of course on YouTube, and we had set it up and patched me in, and I just decided, I was like, you know what, y'all were right. I got to go get a beer.
That'll happen. That will happen.
Yeah, I hate feeling left out. And it's just like, you know what, drink and got to go get something. And I got a wonderful Dallas beer, and I think I could use one right about now.
Well, that's fantastic. Sherwin, you got anything for Aaron?
Well, I mean, until he gives his weather report, I guess I don't have a lot to say. I mean, we got a race tomorrow, so I'm sure he's got something to say about that.
I've got something to say about that. I've got a very hot forecast for Texas as well, but we can talk weather now if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Lay it on us.
I hate to do it. But I had to add a slight chance of rain to the forecast tomorrow night. Generally fair skies, though, at Bristol. High of 92, morning low 68. Temperature for the start of the Open will be 87 degrees. There is the slightest chance, a 10% chance, that of showers and thunderstorms. Right now, the way the pattern's setting up, I would say they're generally going to stay east of the track because we do have that mountain range to the east. That being said, I've taken pictures of the setup for a race day here when we have weather. I'll have the same setup, the laptop, the iPad, the phone, race on, and coordinating. So, it's going to have to be kind of watched. I don't think it's a huge risk, but it's enough for me to put it into forecast and say, hey, I got to pay attention to this.
Yeah, well, Rusty and I hadn't missed an August race weekend in like 12 years now, and we've never seen at least one of the races have a rain event. And I know George Carlin told some really funny jokes about calling it an event, but it just happens. The great thing about Bristol is it's concrete, and it's so small that it's so easy to dry that even if we do have one, it's going to pass pretty quick, most likely, and they can dry it up, and we got lights, and let's race.
Oh, no, and this is probably the thing, and this isn't against Charlotte, and we all know people at Charlotte. I think this is really kind of the best thing for NASCAR. To have it at a short track, to have something new, midweek, new eyes, and people just tuning in, and I think it's going to be great for the sport. And we can talk undercar lights if you want.
We haven't even gotten to that part yet.
Well, so, all right, we definitely have to talk about that since you brought it up, because the reality is, if you've ever been to Bristol, you know how bright that track is.
Yeah.
They light it extremely well. Like, it is so lit up. Like, it's like you're in a football stadium. It's the same thing.
Yep.
I'm like, what are those lights actually going to add to the enjoyment of watching the cars do what they do?
Is it possible that they run like a pre-race lap and they cut half the lights just for an effect thing or something, or they do that in between the Open and the actual All-Star race?
Well, the thing
doing that, but I was thinking maybe like cut like a third of the lights, so you have 2/3 of the lights on.
Well, the thing I would say about that is they still have full-on halogen lights.
Oh, so they got to warm up.
Yeah, if you shut them off, they have to cool down before you can turn them back on. It's not like what Martinsville did, where they have all LEDs, and you can just do whatever the hell you want.
and have that crazy fireworky kind of thing that they did, and like you just can't. You're not going to be able to do that at Bristol, and so I don't think they're going to be able to do that.
You hope, you think somebody might have took it there beforehand and said, let's run a few laps of these, see how they're going to look. And maybe if we do like we used to do with the puck in the NHL and add a little computer tech to it.
Oh, that little lightning strike.
Yeah, but ESPN figured out pretty quick that really didn't actually work that good.
Yeah,
No,
it was hard to watch.
Visually that was hard to watch. So it's going to be interesting. I like the concept. I think you're going to draw on a younger demographic just to say, for the cool factor. But if it fails,
Oh yeah. Well, how's Texas looking, sir?
hot. Could somebody explain? And I understand why. It's NBC's having the first race. It's day race in July, and there's a reason we have it in March, April, and then in November. Sunny skies. High Saturday 98. Morning low 79. The heat indices, I say, you're going to be probably around 105, and that may be a little on the conservative side. On Sunday, high of 97. Again, heat indices in the mid 100s. I would expect heat advisories to be issued for the Metroplex for that weekend. And really, the heat index here in Oklahoma, or Norman, was 112. It was 117 up like east of Oklahoma City last Saturday. It was 95. At 6 o'clock here, it was 95, and the heat index was 105.
Well, is it a dry heat though? I mean,
no. My oven's a dry heat, and just no. It is. And
Dallas is just as humid as Atlanta. It's in the middle of the country, so they get y'all got more temperature than we got.
And we're getting all the moisture up because that pattern setting up with that ridge. You've got all that moisture coming in off the Western Gulf. The Western Gulf's warm. It's just flowing up to here.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's going to be hot in them cars. That's for sure.
It's going to be. I've already kind of talked to some people not offline, but people at the teams and saying, they already know to be hydrated, but the weatherman's saying get hydrated.
Yeah. This is one of those if you were able to go and it was like normal fan conditions, if you are under the age of 30, your ratio of alcoholic beverage to water beverage needs to be a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2.
Well, so what I would say is, as almost about to become a 40-year-old, is Pedialyte is your friend.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I tell you, my Lindsay bought. They're called it's IV flu, IV something, and it's like
his saline solution.
I know. Yeah, right. Yeah, no. It's like this pack.
No, Rogan is touting that on his podcast now. It's Liquid IV.
That's what it is. Yeah, Liquid IV. It's like you take one packet of that and mix it in 28 whatever glass of water, and it literally is the equivalent of drinking 5 glasses of water or something like that. It is a hangover. Not that I've had a hangover, but it's a hangover cure.
Right. Well, it's the equivalent of getting all the electrolytes that you need that you don't get just from drinking regular water.
Yep. Yeah. It's better than, in my opinion, like a Gatorade or Powerade, because you don't have to deal with. Granted, you can get zero sugar free and all that kind of stuff, but you don't get the sugar with it, which is nice.
You don't get the sugar and you don't get the fake sugar.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yes. It's definitely a little bit more natural.
I have to look into that.
Yes, it's Amazon. I mean, what can't you get on Amazon? But yes, it's Amazon. True. Liquid IV.
There are a few things.
Yes.
But,
all right. Real quick, and we'll get you out of here, sir, is the head-to-head lap traffic fantasy battle between Aaron Studwell and Brian Newdorf. You broke the 2-week tie that you guys had, which was really annoying to me. I just have to say that was like just an extra pain in my ass. Is another thing I got to keep track of. Now I got to keep track of ties between you two. But
like we said the last time I was on, it's like following the Lions record.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So 6-3-2, you picked up the win. You bumped up a little bit in the standings there, sir. Nice job. And definitely look forward to the battle between you two here down the stretch.
Shoot. Yeah, I got to get my pick in for tomorrow.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes,
I should have probably sent out a reminder email about that. So I'm going to put that on the end of the last page of the show sheet to remind everyone to get their all-star picks in. So, all right, Mr. Aaron Studwell, thank you for joining us on a unique episode this evening and making yourself available, not on a normal schedule like we normally do. Appreciate that. Congratulations.
Always fun to be on.
Thank you. Congrats on the sponsorship. Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you follow Aaron on Twitter at RaceWeather and Brian Newdorf at NASCAR_WXMAN. I look forward to seeing the weather updates tomorrow and over race weekend at Texas, sir.
Thank you, sir. Great working with you, Sherwin. Good talking to you, and we will be fight.
Sounds good, man. We'll see ya.
Good talking to you, Aaron.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation. Great to catch up with Aaron Studwell there as always, and got him on a little early. Well, kind of early. Just we moved him up on the show sheet. So speaking of show sheet, everybody knows, everyone makes fun of me that I've got, 10 pages of notes, whatever. And I emailed Sherwin today what I called the PETM version of the show sheet. I sent him, it was no more than half a page because I know that's all they ever put together. So were you impressed with my condensed show sheet for you, sir?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was fun to read. It definitely looked a lot like ours, although Rusty does actually put together that whole first period through recess thing that makes it a little bit longer, but we never get through it. I mean, it doesn't happen anymore.
Nope, I hear you. All right, so we were at Kentucky. Let's actually talk a minute about the racing we had going on this past weekend. We covered a lot of ground. We got a lot of ground still to cover. Trucks. Here's what I've got to say about the trucks, and that is that it was a rain-shortened race. I didn't see a whole lot of it, and Sheldon Creed is your winner. Sir, anything to add to the truck race this weekend?
Nope.
All right. I feel like I'm doing a disservice because you all know I love the trucks, but the trucks, it just fell at a bad time for me to watch this weekend with all going on in the basement. It was a beautiful weekend. My buddy was over working on the basement. The neighbors were out and over, and I had it on the DVR. And then once I saw it was rain shortened after 2 stages and saw the critiques of everyone on social media, I didn't feel like I needed to go back and rewatch that. So I promise a much more in-depth truck discussion next week. That said, Sherwin, I do want to talk about the Xfinity series here just because it was unique. They had their first double here. And Austin Cindric picks up the sweep. First guy to win a double. And it wasn't the name of Kyle Busch. It wasn't Kevin Harvick. It wasn't Chase Briscoe, who's been dominating the Xfinity series. It was Austin Cindric, who had an amazing car this weekend. What'd you think about Cindric pulling off the double win?
Well, I think what we all need to think about Austin Cindric is that we don't need to be overly concerned that he's a silver spooner. Being that his dad is so involved in the Penske racing process.
Sure.
Because the kid can obviously drive a race car. You don't win 2 races back to back without being a good race car driver, and there's nothing better than legacy racers whether it's,
It adds to the narrative. I love the good story that provides.
Yeah, I mean, it really is good. And the kid is like, he's an enjoyable person. Like his interviews are well thought out. He's clearly an intelligent human being, which to me is important. That's always important to me, that somebody actually has something intelligent to say.
Sure.
When they get a microphone stuck in their face. But it really is cool. I mean, I'm happy for him to have won a double, because we don't do that much. Obviously, we're in the thing that we're in. But, I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
When we lost the big three, if you will, and I want to get to that in a little bit when we talk about the Cup race. But when we lost Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer, and Christopher Bell, if you would have asked me to give you the next big three, I probably would have said Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, and fill in the blank. I would have maybe liked to have said Justin Allgaier. That just doesn't seem to be there. Noah Gragson, obviously, he's got a couple race wins. Harrison Burton, rookie's got 2 race wins. So there's no surprise that Austin Cindric, in my eyes, has kind of picked up and upped his game as he advances his career in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, well, I agree with that 100%, and I don't want to understudy Austin's success to this point, but I do want to broach the subject of Noah Gragson throwing the best right cross that has ever been on camera in NASCAR.
Right? Wow.
He absolutely smoked Harrison Burton.
Yeah. Here's what I love about that. It's a fresh new rival in the Xfinity. I mean, you don't take a right hook and not have a rival now, right? Like, you got 2 young guys in Noah Gragson, Harrison Burton, both with 2 wins apiece. Both are going to be competing for this thing down the stretch. I mean, I love it. Again, whatever adds to the narrative, I buy into, because then that just adds to the excitement and the interest level.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you're a NASCAR and UFC fan like I am, and I think you are too, Brandon, is you see that punch get thrown, you're like, that kid learned how to throw a punch from somebody.
Right? Yeah, that wasn't a first timer there.
That wasn't an accident. I mean, and no offense to the Burtons, because I love the Burtons,
right?
But I mean, Noah threw
he had haymaker there,
freaking punch.
Yes.
Burton didn't go down over it, but his head got rocked.
Yes. Man, that was just like, what was that, Custer and who, God, I'm drawing a blank on his name, at the road course a couple years ago, when he almost like speared him at when they got out of the car there. Do you remember that?
That was John West Townley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Custer was with John Hunter Nemechek.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
That was at Ohio.
Yes. Mid-Ohio. Yep. Oh, that's funny. Let's see. I do want to say, just to go back to Austin Cindric here, and this is just the importance of the double. This is what back-to-back wins will do. He goes into this race weekend with 4 playoff points, and he comes out with 15 playoff points, cutting the gap in half between him and Chase Briscoe, basically. I mean, that is momentum right there. That is something that team can piggyback off of as they go into the summer stretch here. And that's just awesome. I love it. I love Chase Briscoe. I love SHR. You guys know that. You guys know I've talked about Colleague Racing, and I love the fact that those guys are up there in the top 5, top 7 in the standings, which is incredible. But now adding Ross Cindric to the picture, I'm looking at Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric to the picture here, which is just incredible.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think everything Colleague has done is absolutely wonderful for the sport, particularly in the Xfinity series. And what Austin's doing is just solidifying the perspective of everyone that, let's stop talking about Silver Spoon. Let's talk about how good of a race car driver he is.
Absolutely. I'm with you. All right. Let's transition over to the Cup Series. All right. Where do you want to start? You want to start with Colt Custer? You want to start with Jimmy and Keselowski? Playoff picture? Where do you want to start with the Cup Series?
Hell, let's talk about Jimmy and Keselowski.
Let's do it. All right. So I'm surprised some fists weren't thrown after that one. We did see Jimmy walk up. Man, and I tell you what, I understand the mask thing. I understand it. I do. But, man, does it take away from it when Jimmy's making sure he's got his mask on before he gets within, the car length of Keselowski getting out of his car. Like, it just takes away from the excitement level of it a little bit, But, I would have to think, and I haven't seen if Keselowski's acknowledged anything post. I understand right after the heat of the moment and maybe not seeing replays and all that. But I mean, I know what I saw. What'd you see?
What I saw was Keselowski got a run, and Jimmy tried to throw a late block and spun himself.
Yeah, that's what I saw. And I mean, and it's no fault to either one, in my opinion. It's just racing, and that's what's going to happen. But I don't think Keselowski needs to feel guilty at all about the situation.
Well, one of the funny things, or cool, or whatever you want to call it, things about Brad Keselowski is he's a take no prisoners kind of racer.
Yes. Yep.
And he's like, yeah, he tried to push me in the grass, so I turned him.
Yep.
I mean, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Like I'm supposed to be getting what I'm supposed to be getting.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
He
tried to invade my space, and I didn't let him invade my space.
Right. They were arguing over the same spot,
yep.
And, somebody came out on the wrong end of that deal.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, Brad's got to go back to the office, and he's got to answer to his team. And if he lifts, he's going to give up 10 positions because of the stupid-ass motor restrictions that we have right now.
And that damn PJ1 that they put down that didn't do a damn thing for anybody. But
we can talk about that all day long. But
yep.
I mean, if he lives right there to let Jimmy in, he's going to lose 10 positions
or get taken out from behind because someone else and just create a bottleneck situation, and then we're taking out 10 cars at that point in time.
Right.
So.
And so it's like, I hate it for Jimmy because.
I want to see him win. I want to see him win.
Yeah, by all means, I want to see Jimmy win. I want to see Jimmy pass Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip to be,
on his own,
fourth in his own position.
Yep.
in the sport as a winner, because I think it would be good for the sport. But I don't blame Brad at all for saying, look, I stuck my nose in there and I got in there and you came down and you spun off of me.
Yep.
And you created that problem for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. It's a true story. True story. All right. While we're on the topic of Jimmy, let's stay on the topic of Chevrolet. I believe one of your listeners and followers, Jeff at JBev3_8, wants to know, why does Chevy seem to be fading lately? What's your thought there, sir?
Oh, I don't know. I think most teams that start fast tend to fade a little bit. And they either get it back or they don't. I think we've seen that happen with all of the major manufacturers, the big teams. It's hard to start fast and stay fast because the other teams are spending all of their time and energy catching up to where you're at. And if you're out front all the time, you're just focusing on, well, whatever we got going on is working. So maybe we just keep doing that. And that's not how NASCAR works.
No. Yeah. Next thing you know, you're playing catch up, and it's too late at that point. And that's why I tell you what, that's why I'm not concerned about Kyle Busch. Obviously, winless, which is not of character for that team this late into the season. But just I keep waiting, because as soon as that first one comes, they're going to start coming, just like cautions breed cautions. Well, wins for Kyle Busch breed wins for Kyle Busch. And I tell you what, Kyle Busch has 17 wins at Texas between all three series. I'm telling you, I would not be a bit surprised Kyle Busch kicks off his summer, if you will, at Texas this weekend.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me a bit. And I picked Kyle Busch last weekend, and he thought he had broken something in the right rear. It turns out that maybe he didn't break apart. But yeah, I mean, we're not going to see a winless season from Kyle Busch.
No. I tell you what, a winless season for Kyle Busch was going to be like that first year Jimmy Johnson went winless after his last win at Dover in 2017, when he went 2018 without a win. And unfortunately, that's just carried over just through a lot of, bad luck and circumstances and all that kind of stuff. But it was like, you didn't see Jimmy Johnson go winless. I mean, how many years was it? 15, 16 straight years with a win. I mean, that's just what we're going to come to expect with Kyle Busch, that he is not going to go winless in a season.
No, I don't think that'll happen at all.
Yep.
Especially with his teammates being as fast as they are.
Yeah.
I do think there is something to look into in terms of how Kyle is able to manage practice. But
yep.
Hey, Kyle, if you're the best driver in this sport, you just need to adjust. You just got to do it. You just got to do it as good as everybody else is doing it. And a lot of people are adjusting, and Kyle's not.
Yep.
And he continues to get pissed off about it. But it's like, hey, this is what we're in now. And if you're the best driver in this sport, you need to adjust.
Sure. Yep. I'm with you. All right. Let's talk about Cole Custer. Picks up his first win. First of the rookies to do it. Lots of talk of who of the Xfinity Big Three could get it done first. Cole beats out Riddick and Bell. I know a lot of talk. Would any of these guys be able to get a win? Took it 4 wide. It's not like he dominated the race or anything like that, but I don't think that means that anything needs to be taken away from the fact that he picked up a win. Based on the way the season was going, it looked like Tyler Riddick in RCR might have been the first to do it, which would be awesome if RCR can get a win with Tyler Riddick, because damn, they need something to go their way. Christopher Bell, hybrid team, if you will, in the 95. Expectations, everyone could have different expectations and justify those expectations. I 100% said that if one of these guys was going to do it, I thought it would be Cole Custer, just based on the fact that he was going into a full funded team backing, 4-team car, all that kind of stuff. But the way the season was going, I didn't think Custer was going to get one. Where are you at with that?
Well, that's a very interesting perspective. The thing about Cole Custer is that he got into a car that already had proven that it could win.
Sure. Yep.
And absolutely no offense to Daniel Suarez, because I still think he's a great race car driver, and I hope he gets a chance at another really good car. But I was worried that they had moved Cole Custer up too quickly.
Sure.
But he put himself in position to win a race, and he won a race. And most of the time, rookies don't do that. And it's very rare. Like, we haven't had a rookie running for the points win a race since 2009. So we're 11 years away from somebody that actually, was running points and won a race as a rookie.
Sure.
Like, it just doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen. No. And I tell you what, and here's why I love this. I love it because of the fact of he's outside the top 16. From a points perspective, could he point his way into the top 16 if he's able to carry with a little momentum? It's possible. He's got to pass Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones, Tyler Reddick, Austin Dillon to do so, which is possible, I would say. But right now, I just love the talk of, hey, he's knocking somebody out that's in on points right now. And I just think that's a cool piece. And I think that's a cool piece because everyone always says win and you're in. And, this far down the road, that's a likely situation there mathematically. But normally that's not the case mathematically. And I know you and I have hashed that out and talked about that and that we're on the same page with that. But I do love the fact that someone won outside of the top 16 and is going to knock somebody out on points.
Yeah. Well, so I'll dive into about half of what you just said. To maybe piss off some of the anti-Bubba people is he's got less points than Bubba.
Yes. Yeah.
So, like,
yep.
He won, so now he's up in there. But it's like, why are you so upset at the way Bubba's running? Like, he was ahead of the guy that, is a rookie.
Right, yeah.
That now only because he won is now potentially in the playoffs. For everybody out there listening, only if we only have 16 or less winners.
Right. That's key. Critical piece of information that gets left out of the conversation. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. So I asked the listeners a question. So I'm going to read that question off along with some of the responses. Sherwin, you put together what your response will be, and we'll read ours off here in just a second. So after the race, I put this out there on Twitter that, we've had a couple doubles in Cup. We had one at Xfinity this week, and the trucks are going to get their double at Kansas coming up. Each series, in my opinion, has their special track that they just know they're going to put on a great show. So I asked the listeners to give me what their dream scenario would be for a track for each series to run a double at. And so I'm going to get to your guys' response, and then Sherwin and I will give ours. Brandon at Brandon K. Carl said trucks at Canadian Tire, Xfinity at Mid-Ohio, and Cup at Darlington, but on the same day, a noon race and then an 8 p.m. race. I absolutely would love to see that. Obviously weather would have to work in our favor there, but a double on the same day for the Cups would be really cool. Matthew at CH9SE Fan Trucks, Indy Oval, Xfinity, Charlotte Roval, Cup at Gateway. I like that. Mr. Andrew Cancian at Racing Cants, Trucks at Knoxville, Xfinity at Road Atlanta, and Cup at Winchester. Hell, why not go with tracks NASCAR's not run? Jess at Iowa NASCAR fan said a double for the trucks at Eldora, Xfinity at Iowa, and a double for Cup at Bristol. That would be pretty cool. And Roger at ROJODI, trucks at Watkins Glen, first race the boot and the second the short course, Xfinity at Martinsville, and Cup at Road America. Great choices there, guys. Sherwin, where would you like to see each series do a double?
Well, so what I want to talk about first is what's reality and what we can actually do.
Sure.
So there's, and I'll pick on Andrew Cancian because I know
it's Andrew Cancian.
he's a friend of ours.
Yes.
A friend of ours. So what I would say is we can't race at a track that doesn't have safer barriers.
Sure. Yep.
So we can't race at Winchester, like until they install barriers. So we can't do that. What I would say is, from my perspective on what I think the 3 best double headers would be, is all tracks or all races, they need to be in close proximity to each other. So a doubleheader to me that looks good is something that you do with a big racetrack that couples a smaller racetrack or a road course.
Sure.
And I'm going to overthink this because I've been overthinking it all day, trying to figure out how I was going to respond to you on this. The bottom line, at the end of the day, the thing I want the most is I want Cup to go to Road America.
Yep.
Because that is a fantastic racetrack.
Sure.
And it looks more and more like we're going to lose Chicagoland.
Yeah.
And we can give Chicago area a racetrack where they can go watch a Cup race. And if you do 2 races there, I don't know how you do that. Maybe you do Milwaukee Mile.
That'd be cool.
And then do the road course. But then you have to bring 2 trucks.
Yep.
You know, because you need 2 different cars and you need a backup for each. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where South Boston's at in terms of safety is concerned, but its proximity to Charlotte, like, that feels like a cool place to go.
Sure.
Would be a great place for trucks.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
You know, I'd like to see, honestly, I'd like to see the trucks at Hickory.
Sure.
Like, Hickory is just, it's so historical that it's hard to deny how cool that would be to say, we're bringing NASCAR National Touring Series to Hickory. You wouldn't even, you'd run out of tickets.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You just run straight out of tickets.
Well, I tell you, I would love to see trucks do a double at Martinsville, a day race and a night race, like a Friday night truck, a Saturday day, and then maybe like an Xfinity night and an Xfinity day kind of thing. And I would love to see Cup do a double at Charlotte. I know it would be a pain in the ass from a crew perspective, but if they ran the they ran the Oval at night, followed it up with a day race at Roval, I think that would be an awesome doubleheader right there.
Well, so I would switch them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I would say let's run Charlotte during the day and run the Roval at night.
Oh, that'd be I'm down for any of that.
but you're right. It is. There's a shitload of logistics that has to take place in order to organize that.
Yeah.
And there, okay, I mean, we can't, we can't do all the things that we want to do, but I think one of the things that has helped this whole process of us dealing with whatever we're dealing with.
Sure.
Is, Daytona's saying, hell, we're going to run Cup cars, on the Roval. And it's like, okay, well, if you're willing to take that chance, like, why don't we take chances somewhere else?
Sure.
Like, what, I mean, I think Nashville's going to be in play. We already know that the Super Speedway is in play because they've already announced it. But the fairgrounds, like, what if you run on the fairgrounds one night and you run the Super Speedway on the next night, or vice versa?
Yeah, that makes some people happy, I would think. That would definitely make people happy. All right, let's see here, sir. I'm gonna hit some social media real quick, and we'll move along over to some lucky dogs, and we can take a refill break here in a second if you'd like. Sounds good to me. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, Instagram, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Lap Traffic PC, YouTube, Lap Traffic Podcast, Twitter at Lap Traffic PC. Listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Google Play, all that good stuff. Subscribe, download, leave a comment. Don't forget about the giveaways, the t-shirt and hat giveaway. Less than 100 followers to go. I think it's less than 80 to go at this point. And then, of course, got the rear quarter panel to give away at 5,000 followers. And we got some new follower shout-outs. Cameron at Cam the Man 330 from West Virginia and a big NASCAR fan. Jay at Easton J, NASCAR fan and a mathematical modeler. I think 2 + 2 is 4. I'm not sure. You can let me know on that. Milo at 44JJ, NASCAR and Jimmy Johnson fan. Heidi at Greenbean 49721 from the great state of Michigan. Daniel Hamrick and Matt Benedetto fan. Always happy to have a fellow Michigander. And J.R. Schrader at Noister from PA and a Kevin Harvick fan. Always happy to have a Kevin Harvick fan. Go to the website, fill out the contact page, and I will send you a sticker and koozie. I've mailed out a bunch over the last couple weeks. The pictures on Twitter are coming in. Appreciate that, guys. Hope you enjoy the koozies. Normally, this is where we would do the weather. We've already got that done. I'm going to hit stop so that Sherwin can get a refill, and we're going to come back in no time because there is no time gap when you get to hit the stop button. And we'll come back with Lucky Dogs and Fantasy to close it out. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, it is time for this week's Lucky Dog and Lapped Down Picks. No waiver on hotline this week because we've got Mr. Andrew Sherwin on here, and it just becomes a real pain in the ass to have to drop in audio clips so much. So we'll get the waiver on hotline back next week. That said, it is time for our Lucky Dog and Lap Down Picks. All right, so my Lucky Dog is Colt Custer, and my Lap Down, Sherwin, is the cost of granite. It's not cheap, and that's kind of threw the budget off on the bar a little bit, but nonetheless, we'll move forward with that. But I did not realize how much. I've never installed granite before, and it's not cheap. So with that, I'll throw it over to you, sir. Who are your Lucky Dog and Lap Down picks?
So I wouldn't say Cole's a lucky dog. I guess what I would say is Harvick, maybe a lucky dog, getting as good finish as he did after getting boogered up by Brian Blaney. And no, certainly no offense to Ryan Blaney. But that was really funny how he found out what happens when you go down on the apron.
That'll happen.
That'll definitely happen, and he didn't know that until he did it.
Almost like a Kozlowski Jimmy Johnson thing there. You really can't fault. It's just a product of the racing environment.
Yeah, I would agree. And we got 4 wide with 1 lap to go. That's pretty cool. Lap down. Hell, I don't even know. I'd say Chase. I think Chase's team really screwed the pooch.
Yeah, they did a little bit. They kind of got off there a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, they had a decent car all day. They weren't going to win the race, but they screwed up, and then, they got some fender damage, and they came down, and, they finished 24th. It's like, well, damn. But they finished so well, most of the races we've had the last, 5 or 6 weeks, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You're going to have a bad day.
Yep. No, I'm with you there. I'm with you. All right. Let's get to your tweeted responses. Sherwin, if there's anything you want to chime in on, feel free to cut me off at any time here. We'll start with Scott at 1985, Wagner's Xfinity Thursday edition, Lucky Dog, Riley Herbst. A Toyota had a decent run. A lap down, Allgaier, consistent. late restart with bad lucks. And Brandon Jones, 3 races. I don't think he's gotten 10 laps combined. Scott's Friday night edition lucky dog is Allgaier. He was going to be the unluckiest dog until that late caution. A lap down, no pick, but new suggestion for picks is the hashtag lucky dog to lap down. Brandon Jones on the second race got 178 of 200 laps before his car found the wall. Glad he got some laps in. Yeah, Brandon Jones has had a little bit of a rough stretch going on there, sir. And Scott's Truck Edition lucky dog, Sheldon Creed with the assist by Mother Nature. A lap down Spencer Boyd's issues at the start. And to wrap it up, Scott's Sunday SHR Lucky Dog Cup Edition is Cole Custer from out of nowhere. And lap down is Eric Almirola, led the most laps only to battle back to 8th. You know, and that's not uncommon to see, someone that leads the most and maybe have the fastest car early not win the race there, sir.
Yeah, well, so I'll start with Eric Almirola because there's a good point to be made there, and there's some engineering that maybe NASCAR fans need to understand, that when you're out front, like, you don't have to adjust your car the same way. But when you get poked back there in the back of the field or in the middle of the field or even in the middle of the top 10, it starts to change. So, I guess that's
dirty air, man.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people don't like that phrase, but it does matter.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
CJ at CJ LaPearl's lucky dog, Mr. Cole Custer from a third row on the last restart. Took it 4 wide for the win. A lap down Kyle Busch, and the 18 team can't seem to figure it out without practice. We talking about practice, man. CJ, all I got to say, there's no way Kyle Busch doesn't get a win. I'm not going to go as far as to what NASCAR Chasm did a few years ago about Joey Logano's tattoo thing, but man, I'd put something up on the 18 team getting a win this year.
Yeah, well, I would bet on it. I don't think you can bet against it. That would be a bad bet.
Absolutely. Jess at Iowa NASCAR fans lucky dog Custer. The rookie looked like a veteran. Lap down, track, and package alone, they're both pretty bad. Put together, unbelievably bad. Great finish doesn't make up for a terrible race. Yeah, I feel you there. Rowdy at the Rowdy Dragons lucky dog. Cole Custer takes it 4 wide to capture his first Cup win. Lap down, the 48 car blew his chance at the win with a not-so-good block on the 2 car, who got a close look at his new car next year. What do you think about Rowdy Dragon calling out Keselowski going to the 48 next year?
I think it's a great call that the 48 made a mistake. The driver of the 48 made a mistake, and I also think it's a great call that Brad's probably going to be in that car next year.
I'm with you there. Eddie at Eddie_EG3's lucky dog is Bell, putting together a nice second half season so far. Lap down, Brandon Jones, 2 races, 2 crashes. Matt at Camper News, lucky dog, the finish at the end of the Cup race with Cole coming out of nowhere to win his first Cup race. Lap down is Jimmy Johnson for having a great run and having the spin at the end. Eric Sauter's lucky dog, a rookie, Cole Custer winning and Kevin Harvick finally losing. Lap down, 6th week in a row NASCAR weekend has been affected by weather. That was something we probably should have brought up to Aaron Studwell, sir. The fact that 6 weeks in a row, weather has played a role in things at some point in time.
Yeah, well, lightning is a new thing that NASCAR has incorporated into their safety policy.
All we need to say is Darlington 2018 or night, was it 18 or 19? We were down there and no one left the grandstands, man.
No, nobody left, and maybe we were all stupid for not doing it, but Nobody did. I mean, they just
Not
said,
a soul move. Run the cars,
they
dude.
just shot a solid middle finger out of, hey, we suggest you go down into the gangway. And we're like, nah,
We're good.
that ain't happening.
Colin at Colin _ cars. Lucky Dog Colonel Custer winning his first race. Right place, right time. A lap down is going to Brad K. Straight up hoses Jimmy. Mick at Goducks 42 _ Mix. Lucky Dog is Custer. Has that win and being 25th in points. Just took a playoff spot. Mick's lap down is 2020. Sir, I will raise my glass that you cannot see at the moment, and I will cheers the lap down of 2020. Yep, I can see that. Roger at ROJODI's Lucky Dog Xfinity Series edition has to be Justin Allgaier. First car a lap down for most of the race. Takes the wave around and finishes fifth. Hell yeah, I hear you there. Rogers Cup Edition Lucky Dog Cole Custer for a fantastic overtime restart. Lap down is Steve Phelps 80%. I know Mr. Andrew Cancian can get behind that one for sure. And we'll close it out with the 20% at Racing Cance. I'm going to try to do it like he would on the Wave Around Hotline. What's up, Lap Traffic Nation? Voice of the Wave Around Hotline. Hashtag the 20%. Hot takes at Kentucky Edition. Lucky Dog Cole Custer. How awesome was that? Didn't think a rookie would win this year. Lap down the PJ1. Seems like it doesn't give a second lane at the bigger tracks, which seems counterproductive. Sir, I hope I did you proud there in lieu of your call on the Wave Around Hotline. Lap Traffic Nation, that's going to do it for this week's Lucky Dog Lap Down Picks. Don't forget the Wave Around Hotline will definitely be back next week. All right, Sherwin, we're crossing the 90-minute mark, but we still have some fantasy to do. What do you say? Can you stick around and bear with me while I talk a little lap traffic fantasy before we get to our picks?
For sure.
Excellent. Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you get your all-star bonus pick in. It's a winner-take-all. If you guess the winner, you get an extra 15 points, which would be very helpful to the top 10 in segment 2 because it is a close battle going on right now. And don't forget to get your Texas picks in as well. Week 3 of segment 2 is in the books. A lot of players doubled down this past weekend on Chase Briscoe in the Xfinity Series. Couple players picked up at least one win with Austin Cindric. Only one player took Sheldon Creed in the Truck Series, and no one had Cole Custer. What? Come on, guys. No, I didn't see that coming. No one saw that coming. Week high was Robert Riggs with 186 points with his picks of Truex, Cindric, Briscoe, and Zane Smith. Hell of a job there, sir. Apologize not able to get you on this week. We'll work something out down the road. And second place was John King with 183 with his picks of Creed, Briscoe. He doubled down, and Brad Keselowski. Nice job there. I had Austin Hill, Briscoe, Cindric, and Brad Keselowski with 177. Man, I got to tell you guys, I'm in the top 10 in the cumulative standings. I'm leading the standings. I've never done so well in lap traffic fantasy in my life. That said, I'm going to hit you guys with the top 10. Right now, top 10, segment 2 is me leading. I know, I'm still shocked. 431 points. Matt Crowd, my uncle, in second. The crowds are dominating right now. In third is John King with 407. Brad James in fourth with 395. Aaron Studwell in fifth with 390. Mick Rose in sixth with 389. Eric Zalin in seventh with 387. Matt Camper in eighth with 385. Fred Leclerc and Jess Rose tied for ninth with 384. And Joe Roush wraps out the top 10 with 382. The cumulative standings, Jess Rose is still in first. Joe Hewson, Richard Cravens, Matt Crowd, Kent Dolphy, Matt Camper, Chad Robb, Mick Rose, Toby Christie, Andrew Cancian, David James, and Brandon Crowd. I don't know who the hell that guy is. Wraps out the top 10. Aaron Studwell in 11th. Brian Hall in 12th. Crystal Smoke in 13th. Stephanie in 14th. Brett in 15th. And Lisa Chanana wraps out the top 16 cumulative. I absolutely love it. Let's keep it coming. Sherwin, what do you say? Are you ready to make some picks for this weekend?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Well, we also got our all-star picks we got to make too, but I'm going to preview Texas lap traffic fantasy players. We are headed to the Lone Star State and Sherwin's favorite track and favorite track president. There is absolutely no sarcasm coming from that at all. We're going to Texas, where I hate to report that Kevin Harvick has ruled as of late. Harvick with 3 wins in the last 5 trips. Chevy has not won at Texas since April of 2017, where Jimmy Johnson picked up the win. And oh, by the way, he's just got 7 wins at Texas and is the only Chevy to win since Jeff Gordon back in 2009 and Stewart in 2011. Can Jimmy get himself in position to get a win? Can Kyle Busch, who's got 17 trophies, 4 truck wins, 10 Xfinity Series wins, and 3 Cup wins, can that 18 team get it going? Who puts on the cowboy hat and fires off some 6-shooters? We'll find out Sunday. But first, it is time for our picks. Sir, a little different for you guys. Give me a truck pick for this weekend.
Trucks. I'll pick Austin Hill.
I love that pick because that is my pick as well. I absolutely love that. Over to the Xfinity Series, sir. Who do you got?
I have got Austin Cindric.
I like that. Going for the triple. I like that. That'd be very cool. I'm going to go old school. I got to keep it safe. I got to protect my lead. I'm going to go with Chase Briscoe. And for the Cup Series, sir, who do you have?
Chase Elliott.
I love that pick. I have to, it's a little different this year in lap traffic fantasy. You only get to pick a driver once per segment that made the playoffs last year. So I've got a couple picks I'm saving. That said, I am going to go with Eric Almirola this week at Texas. He's done pretty well. He's favored well lately. So I'm looking for a top 10 out of Eric Almirola. Sherwin, who do you got for the All-Star race?
Oh, Bristol. I think we're going to see a surprise. I want to go with Clinton Boyer.
Ooh, I like that pick. You're not alone with that. There have been a couple players that took Clinton Boyer. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch to get things fired off for sure. Oh, all right. Those are our picks. Lap Traffic Nation. Can't wait to see who you guys pick. Sherwin, I think that's got to be a wrap. We've exhausted ourselves here, I think. It's been a long show. It's been a great show. Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for episode 191 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Like on Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast. Follow on Twitter at Lap Traffic PC. Subscribe, download, iTunes, Podbean, all that good stuff. Huge thanks to Sherwin from PETM and Aaron Studwell for coming on. Sherwin, where can everyone follow you, and what's coming up next for you guys on the show?
All right. You can follow me at Pregame Engineer, and you can follow our podcast at PETM Podcast, both on Twitter and Instagram. I don't know that we have next week's guest scheduled yet, but in the near future, we have Kenny Anderson, former Georgia Tech point guard, is going to be on the show. Awesome.
You guys are branching out with that. I loved last week's show with the Georgia Tech runner up to the Heisman Trophy. That was a great show last week. I love the fact that you guys are stretching the boundaries there a little bit, because it's a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, well, we're having a lot of fun with it, and those guys are, it's just so cool. They're like, yeah, man, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
That's awesome. I love getting that response. Absolutely love it. Lap Traffic Nation, next week, a little MIS preview. Stay tuned for some cool announcements on that on social media. Lap Traffic Nation. Well, I tell you what, Sherwin, how about we let Sydney Lett close us out here for this one? What do you say to that?
That sounds good to me.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation, PETM Posse, don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!
Talladega to Daytona, Bristol, Charlotte, and Sonoma. We are NASCAR. Revving engines, get to roaring, fans are screaming, drinks are pouring.